Hey everyone, I'm not sure if you've logged in or not. Looks like a couple people are starting to join. Hey, I'm starting a little bit early so that I can share it on my personal page on Facebook again, like usual. So just stay tuned and I'll be right there. Okay, how's everyone doing? Who's all here? Let's see. Hey everyone. Vicky, Jay, hey Matthew, Mary, Sean, Carmen, hey, oh my gosh, great. Lots of people are joining. Lori, hi. So anyway, I wanted to just make sure that I'm not starting too early, so let me look at the time. Well, I think we can go ahead and get started. It's about 1 minute till, but welcome everyone to the 9th live stream, which is just crazy that it's been what a crazy year. You know, in April, I guess it was April, maybe late March, April, probably April, I was beginning to think like, how am I gonna survive as an artist with my studio? And so the idea came to me to do these live streams, and now this is the 9th one, which I can't even believe. So I normally wouldn't even do a new body of work in November because there's not a lot of people here in Provincetown visiting, and you know, it just didn't make a lot of sense. But last year I painted a snow image, kind of a view of the harbor with freshly blown snow against the sand dunes, and I loved it. And I thought, you know, I need to do more winter paintings. So I decided to do this show that I wouldn't normally do in November of these new body of work, which is a lot of snow scenes, a lot of kind of winter scenes, and it's really just about the way it is here on Cape Cod in the winter. You know, I draw a lot of inspiration, and it's a time of introspection. So, you know, it gets really quiet. In fact, like being here at 7 o'clock in my studio in November, what is it, 14th? So sunset today was at 4:19 p.m. So it feels like midnight at 7 o'clock. And it wouldn't be unusual for me to be here at 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, during the summer on a weekend of a typical year that was non-COVID. But this year, it just seems especially late. So anyway, it's not late for all of you, and I'm really happy you joined me. You may hear a little bit of noise coming in from upstairs. There was something going on up there. I don't know if there's some construction or whatever, but the Provincetown Water's Edge Cinema is above me. One of the houses is above me, and one is above the Nut House as far as the way they're configured. So I'm not sure what's going on because they're not really open. But if you hear a lot of banging, just ignore it. And let's see, I also wanted to just let everyone know that I'm James Frederick, and this is my studio in Provincetown, Frederick Studio Provincetown. And I know a lot of you have joined week after week, but every so often I get a inbox message from someone who's joined for the first time. And they're like, who are you? Like, what's your background or whatever? So just a little bit of that tonight. I was raised in a family of artists. I've painted and drawn my whole life. I worked for years as an interior designer doing fine art on the side, and when I was in my, I would say mid-50s, early to mid-50s, I decided to make a life change and really focus full-time on my art, and that was a number of years ago, so you can do the math, but I'm going into my 7th winter living here in Provincetown, and I've taken a lot of photographs over the course of that time of some amazing weather events that have happened And I'll talk about those as I take you through the work, but that's my tale of the winter, is what you're going to see. So this show is called A Winter's Tale, and before we jump in, I do want to tell you all that I was nervous about getting all these pieces finished. I think I have 7 to share with you tonight, because if you remember from my last live stream, I shared that I was going to have some surgery on my hand, and everything went well, except I did not expect it to be so debilitating. I don't know, newsflash, when your thumb is inoperable, you learn how to grasp things with just your fingers, but I couldn't paint or draw, and it took a couple weeks before the stitches were even removed, and then a week after that before I could really begin to move my thumb again. So I didn't have a lot of time to get these pieces finished. I probably would have done a bit more, but I'm really happy with how they've come out. The funny thing is I don't use a lot of small brushes, but I decided to do some more detailed paintings, and that was actually the worst thing when I'm trying to hold a brush with this recovering thumb. So anyway, I'm on the mend. TMI, too much information for you about that. So you have a little bit of background about me, about why I wanted to do these pieces, and so I'm just going to take you through the work. So let's begin. So this piece is called Winter on Winslow, and I'm going to be sure to step out of the frame because it really changes the exposure quite a bit, and with it being so white, it really just starts to completely glare out. So this is Winter on Winslow, and this is actually a view that I have every morning, which I'm very blessed to have as I walk from my place down Winslow to my studio. And you can see the UU in the distance there. And these are some friends of mine's house that's kind of en route. And this was a day, I don't know, maybe 2016. So there were a lot of large trees in this area that fell over the years since I've lived here. And this was after one of the large ones fell, which actually was nice because it opened up my view to the harbor. But, so this is called Winter on Winslow, and it's 24 by 24. And just like usual, all of these pieces are available for you to look at a little closer on my website. And there is actually even a link to my online store in the description of this live stream, where you can click in and get more information about the frame and the pricing. But this is a great piece. So this piece is really kind of monochromatic, and it was after a bit of a fresh snow that came on top of some older snow, which I think you can kind of gather from it. I'm not sure if there's any questions, but this one is called, again, Winslow, or Winter on Winslow. So I'm going to move you guys to the next piece. And I just have to do a slight adjustment. There we go. So this is a smaller piece. It's 12 by 12, and it's called Boot Weather. And this is a view of the harbor from the end of Cook Street as it comes to Commercial Street, kind of in the farther east end around the area of like Pam. And there's just this empty lot that's between 2 houses. I think it belongs to one of the houses. There's a swing set off in the distance in this little yard. But when it's covered with snow like this, it comes up halfway up the fence. So I called it Boot Weather because it's one of the things I learned moving from Ohio to New England is that you have got to have some good boots. And they have to be tall because the snow comes. The last couple winters we've had kind of more mild weather and not a lot of snow. But the first winter I spent here was the record snowfalls. So this is one of those sunny days where the sun hits that snow and it's just so glaring. And if you're in a bit of a shadowed area, which I am in the foreground of this painting, you can see how bright it is in the distance. So this one again, smaller, it's 12 by 12 and it's called Boot Weather. And just to point out, I really loved layering this blue. A lot of times at the horizon, there's just a bit of, I don't know, I don't want to call it smog, but kind of an overcast look. And it changes kind of the spectrum of light as it reflects off the water and goes into the sky. So it's never really just a layer of blue that comes right to the horizon. It's really always kind of layered with these colors. So that's a smaller one. And now we're moving on to this larger piece. And this one I teased a little bit of today on social media. It's called Silver Surf. And, you know, like I said, the skies are often gray here in the winter, but this particular image is from a walk that I took in the winter of 2015 at Ballston Beach, and it was after this giant erosion and breach of the barrier dune, and the water was just really rough and wild, and of course not like at the peak of the storm. This was after it was subsiding, and it was just beautiful in the way that it glimmered with that kind of filtered light from the clouds. And it really was kind of silver. I took a bunch of photos that day. It was pretty amazing. And then in the distance, you could see that the storm was lifting and that there was a little bit of light coming in beyond it. So this is a large piece. This is 30 by 30, and it's called Silver Surf. Just gonna see if we got any comments or questions. Nope. Paul, hey Paul. Matthew, thank you. All right, now I'm gonna go to the next piece, and it's a smaller one, just to kind of keep the rhythm going here. Let me give you a little better view of the top of the painting. It's not much bigger. So yeah, this one is called February. And I took a video actually at the beach during a blizzard in February of, I think it was 2015 too. It might have been that Juno storm that was so crazy that year. And then I took the video and I kind of freeze framed several parts of it to decide what to paint. And I actually made this feel a little clearer than the blizzard because you wouldn't be able to see any of this. It was nearly a whiteout, but I did give you some clarity of the profile or the definition, the silhouette of the town. So there's a question about what medium. So these are all acrylic on canvas. And I paint my canvases out dark brown first, which I think adds a bit of depth to acrylic painting that you might not normally see when you just do the acrylic right on a white canvas. And you can see the texture that it gives me. I also love this kind of tension that I create between the paint and the fabric. And you can see the tooth of the fabric adds to that. So it's a nice sturdy cotton duck canvas. Can't remember the ounce of it. It might be 20 ounce. It's pretty heavy duty. So yeah, this one is called February. And you can see the monument in the background there, the Pilgrim Monument, and it's almost obscured just because of the flight of the snow. And so again, that one's 12 by 12, called February. And I'm gonna move on down here. And this is a large piece. This one is 36, by 36. And let me see. There's another question. Do I do my own framing? Yes, I do, but I order all my frames custom. So I order them to fit the canvases that I'm planning on doing. I have to kind of pre-plan sometimes, especially with COVID and the shortage of wood and certain profiles of frame. I've had to plan things out nearly a month or more in advance so that I have the right size frame for the right size canvases for the shows that I wanted to do. So they are custom made for me, and I actually do the installation of the piece into the frame myself here in the studio. So, thank you. Let me see if there's any other questions. It's kind of nice to have some input. Sorry about the finger. Thank you, Deborah. So this piece is called Centuple, and I've given it a subtitle of Winter Sparks Inspiration. So this is an older piece, and I painted this piece in 2014. And it was painted for the 100th anniversary of PAM, which is the Provincetown Arts Association and Museum here in Provincetown. And this represents 100 years of inspiration. So when I conceptualized this piece, then it was about these little sparks of creativity and inspiration. And there's actually 100 of them on this piece. But I really felt like I did this piece in November of that year, and 2014, I think, and it was, cold, and I just thought about the glowing aspect of creativity and how that kind of comes through. So you can see that on this kind of landscape of blue and cold, there are these glowing spots of thought and creativity. And I really feel like that's what the off-season does for me here in Provincetown and on Cape Cod. Everything quiets down and gets cold, but I can start to gather inspiration. So this is a large piece. It's 36 by 36. And I really felt like the color kind of worked with everything I was doing. So, and I really love the way, maybe at the end I can show you how this whole show kind of hung. It looks really great as a whole. I'm going to move on down. So here's another littler piece. This one is called A Frosty Catch. And basically, it's a painting of the McMillan Pier, which is our main fishing commercial pier here in Provincetown. And even in the winter, those fishing boats are going in and out. And what a frosty job that would be. But so this is a shot that I took in January one year, kind of from the near east end, looking towards the wharf, and you can see the fishing boats in the kind of frosty color of the water. So this one is 12 by 12. And let's see if there's any other questions. Nope. I just lost all of the, oh my God, I just lost all of the comments, so I don't know how to get those back. Maybe if I hit that. No. We'll see, they might pop back up. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this to the next piece. And this piece has a lot of energy and drama. So this one is called Storm Beyond East Harbor. And if you're familiar with town, oh, there, I got them. All right, so if you want to comment away. So this is the view that you get when you're leaving town and you're on Route 6 and you look over to the left, and there's what a lot of people call today Pilgrim Lake, but it was originally called East Harbor because it was connected at one point to the harbor in Provincetown, but when they built the railroad, they did a little bit of a landfill to have a nice area where the train could come through, because other than where they did build the space for the train, there was really just these barrier dunes. So when you are on the road looking across East Harbor or Pilgrim Lake, you see these dunes on the other end of it. So this is a storm that's on the other side of the dunes that really darkened the sky, but the sun was breaking through. As you can see, the clouds in the more foreground are kind of open, and so the sun was breaking through and really illuminating that snow on those dunes. Was really intense. And you know, I've had to pull over many a times as I've driven past this part of Truro just to take some shots, because it's just dazzling. It's always different. And this is just one of those contrast points that you just see naturally, where the dark and the light really play. So I've really layered a lot of blues and grays here as they kind of came to life. And I really love the way that this kind of lower part of the sky came out. The color might not be translating that great because they're all kind of cooler tones and blues versus the way that you would see some of the warmer colors. But anyway, this one is 30-30 and 30 by 30, and it's called Storm Beyond East Harbor. So that is the pieces included. But there's another, oh, well, here, let me see if I can show you. I don't know if I can get back here far enough, but you can kind of see how the whole show lined up. I think it hung very beautifully, and it's really exciting for gallers when this happens, when kind of the color and the rhythm of size and everything works well. So that was kind of fun. All right, I'm gonna put you guys right here so we can chat. Let's see. Oh, thank you. All right, Matthew, I saw that comment. I'm missing some of these. Sorry. Oh yeah, the buoys, yes. So, yeah, someone made a comment about the buoys on the harbor shot. And yeah, it's just the way everything gets kind of this silver glow. It's really cool. So this show, you know, I was having my surgery and I didn't have any of these pieces finished at the time that I had to release the press release. So you probably saw, even on the Facebook event, there was an image of kind of a winter scene, and that's the one that I was referring to earlier that was called Fresh Snow at Low Tide. And I actually, so that was the piece I painted last year, and I actually took that piece and made a non-denominational holiday card with that piece. So this is that painting called Fresh Snow at Low Tide, and you can see how the snow just kind of gathers on those ribs that the tide makes in the sand. So these are available this year here at the studio, and they're blank inside, so you can write whatever you want. They just say peace on the front, and the back just has an explanation of what the painting is and just my simple little logo. So those are available. They're on my website. You can get them. A pack of 10 is just $25, so they're fairly affordable. And I was excited to be able to have that painting still live here in the studio this year. So that's cool. And then, let's see. There we go. And I also just wanted to share with you that this year I did another ornament that I do for the holidays. And I know this isn't about the holidays necessarily, but I wanted to share this because I love the way it turned out. So this is the lobster pot tree that we light here in Provincetown. And I just heard word today that it's going to be done again this year, but there's not going to be kind of an in-person lighting ceremony. They might be doing more of a virtual one. But this family has done this lobster pot tree for, oh geez, I don't even know, 30 years maybe? Maybe not quite that long, but it's quite the popular event here. And so I immortalized it on this little ornament. And on the back side is the view of the Pilgrim Monument with the lights. that are strung at Christmas time. And actually they went up early this year because they went up on, I think, November 11th or 12th, whatever day was the day that commemorated the 400th anniversary of the landing of the Mayflower. So that is on the other side. So this little ornament is available. It's porcelain. Oh, this was the pack of cards I meant to show you. Then you can get a whole pack. So anyway, that is it. Yes, Chris, you got one of the first ones of the ornament. So yes, I'm glad that you love it. So I don't know what else I needed to talk about. I'm just looking at my list here. Oh, I think I covered everything. So does anyone have any questions or anything? Let's just look real quick. This will be a shorter event than some of them. All right, well, if there's no questions, whoa, I just got rid of all the captions again. So if there aren't any other questions or anything, I just want to thank everyone for all of your support, for tuning in each of these events. You know, the fact that there's been 9 of them and that you guys have supported me through this whole COVID ordeal. And I have a feeling we may be doing more virtual events even next year for a while. I may continue to do them even after we're not under the hammer with this thing. So thank you, everyone. I don't know, I'm done. I just feel happy to be able to connect with you all and just ever so grateful for you all tuning in. So thank you. Have a wonderful season, a holiday season, and look for more contact. Bye.